This video is presented by EA Game Changers. I'd like to shout out EA for giving me the opportunity to capture some exclusive Madden 21 content for all of you savages. Let's get into the video. What's going on, everybody? C4 here. Welcome back to the channel, and today I am going to be trying to help you get that very quick advantage in your Madden 21 franchise modes by giving you some very simple tips and tricks that you can utilize in your drafts to dominate and just take over the offseason and leave the rest of your leagues in the dust. Or if you're rebuilding, this is going to be how to dominate your rebuilds and land the best players. Now, for the examples of every position, I have used some of the top college football players at their respective positions, but we will also scout some of the random players to get an idea of, like, testing these tips in live action. So a lot of them are kind of carrying over from the knowledge we knew from Madden 20. Reboot Christianity comes out with a yearly Madden scouting guide, and I am assuming, give it 2-3 months. That's at the late side. He will release one for Madden 21. We'll probably highlight that because it's a little bit more refined, but I'm just going to give you guys general rules of thumb by position to identify if you're going to be getting an absolute stud or if you should decide to pass on that guy and he will end up being a bust. So starting with the quarterback position, there's really two big indicators that you need to look for, and as you can tell by this draft class, you can't just fall for the first one. You want to look for at minimum an A grade for throw power. Anything above an A grade is usually in the money. And now these ratings are always relative to the draft class. They're not relative to the NFL. So an A plus throw power, you might think, oh my God, he's gonna have 97, 98, 99 and be one of the best and strongest arm quarterbacks in the NFL. No, that A plus throw power is in relation to the rest of the draft class. So that is definitely something to keep in mind. Obviously, someone like Trevor Lawrence is gonna be an all-pro, but the two indicators that will help you early on in delving into a quarterback, if they're gonna be worth drafting or not, is above an A in the throw power, and then when you scout them and you get that talent grade, you need to be at least third round or below. If it's anything past a third rounder, you're gonna be dealing with guys that you don't know. They could be bubble 60 overall, they could be in the 50s. I would not mess with any quarterback that you scout that doesn't at least give you a throw power and is tested out as a third round talent or better. So moving on to the running backs, I will be highlighting CHUBA Hubbard, my Canadian brethren out of Oklahoma State. Now, for these skill positions, we have to kind of value the combine report as well, and obviously you won't get that until the offseason. So we will focus first on the skills, what you get during the regular season. And for your running backs, ultimately a rule of thumb is no skills that you scout gotta be below B+. If you get anyone that's B, B-, you start playing with fire a little bit. If you want to keep it safe and you want a for sure thing at that running back spot, all of his skills need to be B+ or better. Then, when it comes to the combine, so the combine report for the running backs that you want to keep an eye on, there are 4 drills that are very important. The 40-yard dash, as seen by CHUBA Hubbard, he's first. You want to look at the 3-cone where he's first, and you want to look at the 20-yard shuttle. Carries over, that's been pretty consistent over the last couple of Maddens, but when you are looking at a running back, get a guy that's top 5 in the 40, 3-cone, and 20-yard. And if he matches up well with the skills and the talent, he's got to be a franchise-type running back, 3-down type running back. Wide receivers. This is a position that, at least in Madden 20, I felt like there was always a couple wide receivers, but they were always early. The better the wide receiver prospect, because you would see in our rebuilds, we would struggle if we did not have a top 10 pick getting a legit game changer at that wide receiver position. And so far, I've done about 4 to 5 full drafts here in Madden. See, it's not as stingy. I'm finding some guys in the 3rd and 4th round that are testing as first round talent, but it's still a little stingy. And if you need a wide receiver really bad, you're gonna have to invest a really high pick in them. So looking at wide receivers highlighted by JAMARR Chase here out of LSU. The rule of thumb when you're just scouting mid-season based upon his skills is you want no skill below a B-. So as you can see here, A catching, A- catching traffic, A- spectacular catch. I mean, JAMARR Chase probably going to be like a top 10 pick in the 2021 draft. Also, when you see that talent grade, you want nothing lower than 3rd round. So as long as you're coming up 3rd round, 2nd round, 1st round in talent, feel free to draft them. Now, when it comes to the combine, so for the combine report, I'm actually showing you a little bit of an outlier here because the 3 drills you want to pay attention to for a wide receiver is the 40, the 3-cone, and the 20-yard. Very similar to the running backs. And JAMARR Chase, the 40's not bad, 4.42. The 3-cone and 20-yard shuttle is less than ideal, 20th and 13th. We know he's a stud. Obviously, his agility is probably not near the tops of the class. That's why it's hurting him just a little bit there. But it's always good to see. And the least the spots you want to pay attention to on that combine report. And this is good because it also shows that this is a guide. It's not a rule of thumb. It's not an exact rule of thumb. Sometimes there's going to be outliers. Sometimes there's going to be guys that, you know, might meet, like he ticks off all the boxes and he's still not that great. And sometimes you see like this in JAMARR Chase, you know, don't always just completely rely on the combine report. You gotta take a combination of the two and then make an informed decision. And other times there's the inverse of a JAMARR Chase. A guy that's combine report is sensational. Could have a really good 40, a really good 3-cone, really good 20-yard shuttle, but his top skills are like B- and C+. I can't and I haven't seen it yet in Madden 21. So I mean, what value is this necessarily? But I did notice quite a few times in Madden 20 when I would find players that are exceptional athletes. I noticed this at wide receiver, corner, and safety. Guys that were really good in the 40, the 3-cone, and the 20-yard shuttle. Maybe even a couple running backs now that I think about it. But their skills weren't great. They would be very low overall, like, you know, between 58 and like 63. But they would have a hidden dev trait. So I haven't seen that enough in my draft classes here in Madden 21 to confirm that that's still kind of a thing. But something to keep an eye on in case a combine report is really good and the skills aren't so hot. Maybe worth the investment in a 6th, 7th round type pick. Tight ends are next for the last of the offensive skill position players, and yeah, if you've watched any of my rebuilds, you know, if there's one position that I do struggle to draft, it is tight end, so maybe I can use this old information. So going off of what we remember from Madden 20 and what I've been able to identify is pretty, you know, solid evidence of getting a good tight end prospect here in Madden 21. For the skills, you want everything to be above a B-. Anything B- or above will be good when you're scouting those top skills. You also want 3rd round or higher in terms of talent. You get beyond 3rd round, you know, unless it's maybe a blocking tight end, because blocking tight ends have kind of weird overalls. You don't want to touch them. So kind of like the wide receivers, 3rd round minimum and no skill below a B-. But when it comes to the combine, there are 2 skills in particular that you want to keep an eye on. Looking at the tight end here, there's really only 2 drills. The 40-yard dash, not as important for the tight end position as it was for the wide receivers and running backs, but you still want to identify the 3-cone and the 20-yard shuttle. Those are probably, when it comes to scouting in Madden, the 2 most important drills across the board, across all positions, as you can see for Kyle Pitts, 2nd and 3rd respectively in each one of those combine drills. So look at that for your tight ends, and you'll get yourself a complete guy. Hope I need to be able to apply that, practice what I preach, because my God, my track record of drafting tight ends in Madden 20 was not very good. Taking a look at the offensive line, I want to use Penei Sewell, the tackle from Oregon, who might be like the best tackle prospect I've ever seen, but I guess on console, Penei is invalid for a first name, so I'll have to get that modified, I guess, on PC. So we're going to take a look at Wyatt Davis here of Ohio State. So when it comes to scouting linemen, they're all kind of grouped in. For the top skills, the rule of thumb in Madden 20, I had a little bit different. C+ or above for your 3 skills. You can get confident they're not going to be a bust. I kind of like B-. Maybe it's below a B-, I would, you know, usually, because offensive linemen tend to grow on trees, at least in Madden 20's draft, no skill below a B-. But you can see Wyatt Davis, premier guard, so all his skills are going to be off the charts, A-, B+, B+, as well as for a talent grade. 3rd round or above, 3rd, 2nd, 1st round talent, when you're done scouting them, you know you're going to be getting a guy that's going to be probably 65+ at minimum. But I guess rule of thumb for linemen in particular, maybe more so than any other position, even if you're getting a green 4th rounder, green 5th rounder, green 6th rounder, green 7th rounder, you should still relatively confident that that guy's going to be at least in the 60s. And given how bad, you know, potentially your offensive line starters were before the draft, that could be an upgrade. So if you get a green at any point for an offensive lineman, and maybe your draft board's kind of, you know, it's kind of falling apart, there's not much there, make that pick. But if you want a stud, if you're talking about a guy that could be a fringe 1st rounder, you want the talent grade to be 3rd or better, and the top skills, for my opinion, to be B- or higher. Now, in Madden 20, in Madden 19, probably even Madden 18, you could cheese the draft with offensive linemen if they had 34 or more in the bench press. That's where things get a little bit different here in Madden 21. Now, I don't really need to go to the combine because everyone knows what the bench press. I have seen the bench press numbers are a lot higher, especially when it comes to the UDFAs. In Madden 20, I could consistently get UDFAs that were between like a 67 and a 71 overall and just get them because they had a very high bench press. They have nuked that just a little bit here in Madden 21. A lot of the UDFAs will be around 30, 31, 32 reps on the bench press, and you'll draft them, they'll be like 61. Or 63 overall. So they have nuked it just a little bit, but rule of thumb for the bench press, if it's 35 or above, feel free to make that pick. Now flipping on to the D-line. D-line has generally always been grouped together. So defensive ends, defensive tackles. So we're gonna take a look here at Gregory Rousseau, defensive end from Miami. I always hate, even though it's just for an example, when I get hit power as one of my top skills. But for defensive linemen, at least when you're just doing your in-season scouting, you want to look for the top skills. B grade is the lowest you go. You don't really even want to mess around with anything with a B minus. You want B, B plus, A minus, A, or A plus for all of your top skills. And then you're gonna pretty much have to wait, build your board off that. And then at the combine, there are a couple drills you want to keep an eye on when it comes to your D linemen. Moving to the D-line combine report, 3 drills in particular you want to keep an eye on: the 3-cone and the shuttle. As you see for Greg Rousseau, first in the 3-cone, first in the shuttle. Also throwing in the bench press. Maybe a little bit more important for the defensive tackle. That's where things get a little bit weird because they do pretty much classify D ends and D tackles here together. But yeah, you want bench, 3-cone, 20-yard shuttle. Look at those. Those are the important ones. For outside linebackers, we'll take a look here at Micah Parsons out of Penn State. For outside linebackers, for the top skills, so when you're doing your in-season scouting, you want no skill to be low a B. B is your threshold here. So for Micah Parsons, we got, obviously those skills are phenomenal. B plus tackling, B plus finesse move, and B pursuit. So just keep an eye on that for the skills. And then we want to highlight a couple drills from the combine that you definitely want to keep an eye on for your outside linebackers. The combine drills you want to keep an eye on here for outside linebacker, and it's probably the most. There are 4. The 40-yard dash, the 3-cone, the 20-yard shuttle, and the bench press are all information you really need to do your homework on to make an informed decision on your outside linebacker. So if you really do need an outside linebacker, don't be completely discouraged with the top skills. Are like 50-50, because you're really not going to get the complete picture until you get that combine report. As you can see for Micah Parsons, the 40-yard dash is not elite, but he's still top 10. But the 3-cone is elite. The 20 and the bench are elite. Therefore, Micah Parsons, based upon these metrics, would be an elite outside linebacker. Middle linebackers, we will be showcasing Dylan Moses from Alabama. Now, the top skills are this guy's godlike, early first rounder, all A's. But in particular, you want to highlight one skill at inside linebacker. This was key in Madden 20, and in the few couple drafts I've done, it seems to be still there. Play rec. If you get play rec, it's kind of a tell that it's going to be a good player. You want B or above when it comes to play rec. That is the one position you need, but you're not always going to get that. Sometimes you're going to get hit power in, which is absolutely useless. But sometimes if you get that play rec, you get that little nugget of valuable information. For a middle linebacker, anything B or above should be a pretty solid tell that they're going to be a really, really nice player. Tackle and pursuit, you're going to want to be looking for B plus at minimum. And obviously here with Dylan Moses, we have 2 A's. But when it comes to the combine, couple drills you want to keep an eye on here for your middle linebacker. For the combine report for middle linebacker, the drills you want to keep an eye on: the 3-cone, the shuttle, and the bench press. So as you can see here, I mean, not bad for Dylan Moses, unlike some of our other players where they've been, the first overwhelmingly #1 player. For Dylan Moses, he is 13th in the 3-cone, which is not bad. 5th in the shuttle, which is great. 1st in the bench press, which is great. And we all know Dylan Moses, this guy here is going to be probably 75, 76 overall player. But pretty much we want to pay attention to the bottom 3 on that combine report. I actually think it's the exact same bottom 3 you want to pay attention to for the defensive linemen, the D tackles and the defensive ends, and it also applies to the middle linebacker. Corners, where it gets a little bit different. Still, you want to look for his top skills. You can get by and get an okay player with a C+. Here in Madden 21, I've actually had players that would have, B plus man, C plus zone, C plus awareness, and they'll still come out like 73, 74. So for your top skills for corners, C plus is the minimum threshold, but obviously when you get a guy like Shaun here from Ohio State, you want as many B's across the board as you possibly can. When it comes to their talent, anyone that is 3rd round or above will be a relatively solid pick. You can mess around. It's kind of like linemen. When you get 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th rounds that are still coming out green, those guys will be 62, 63, or at least a little bit better in that territory between 62 and probably 65. But 3rd round or higher, that's when you start messing around with guys that could be 67, 68, 69, and maybe starting to sprinkle in some dev traits. Definitely a couple drills, though, you want to keep an eye on here for your corners when you get the combine report. Combine report for a corner, you want to look at 3 drills: the 40-yard dash, the 3-cone, and the 20-yard shuttle. So looking here for Shaun Wade, actually the 40, the straight line 40 is not amazing. 4.50, so like in Madden, that's like 90 speed. But the 3-cone, the 20-yard shuttle, he is the best in his group. So there, with the top skills, with the talent grade, by all means, make this pick. He's going to be probably 77, like a 77 overall. This is a 77 overall corner that you're looking at. But, you know, you can't always be dismissive of the 40. I think anything above like a 4.55, I would straight up just avoid, because then you're going to be just, I don't care how good you are, there's going to be athletic limitations to like an 87, 88 speed corner. So 4.5, not bad, but you pay attention to the 40, the 3-cone, and the 20 before you make your decision on your next potential lockdown corner. And the last position we are going to take a look at is safety, highlighted by another Canadian, JEVON Holland out of Oregon. 4 safeties. Again, top skills, you know, C+. It's kind of DBs generally are a little bit the same. Anytime you get a guy that gets 3 Bs across the board, I mean, not everyone's going to be as good as JEVON Holland. 3 Bs across the board, you should feel good. But much like corners, you can still find a pretty good prospect if one of these stats are coming up with a C+. But, you know, obviously, ideally, you'd be in a scenario where it's all Bs across the board, if not better. Much like corners, the talent is also a good indicator whether or not you're going to be getting a good player. 3rd round or above, you should feel confident to pull the trigger, and you'll be getting a really nice safety, free or strong. Couple combine drills you want to pay attention to, very similar to the corners. The combine report for the safety position is the same for free and strong. There's 3 positions you want to keep an eye on, and it's the exact same from the corners. You want to look at the 40, the 3-cone, and the 20. Looking at JEVON Holland, the 40 is pretty damn good. 4.52, top 5 at his position. The 3-cone is elite, number 1. The 20 is elite, number 1. This can be applied, like I said, to free and strong safeties. So pretty much the best athlete, you know, safeties, corners, going to wide receivers. Those are like the 3 positions that, you know, if you get a guy that's like a 7 or higher on the combine grade, they're most likely going to be an absolute stud like JEVON Holland. I think he's actually like a 79. So he's one hell of a player at the safety spot out of Oregon. Let's go Canada. All right, there you go. That is your rather early Madden 21 scouting guide. I'm not going to clickbait it as a complete scouting guide. I'm not, you know, because again, there's going to be these guys. Reboot Christianity, there's always some good work being done over on the Madden subreddit. Guys that really do like the spreadsheets and all that stuff and break down the exact parameters to identify bona fide studs. But for right now, I'm just taking all the stuff that we've had from Madden 20 and stuff that I've been able to pick up from my time at Madden 21 and relaying that onto you. But by no means, it's a complete draft guide. But for the time being, for your initial leagues, for your initial rebuilds, it should be more than enough information to give you guys an advantage in your draft. So if you did feel like you learned something today, picked up some information, hit that like button. Likes help the video in the old YouTube algorithm. I appreciate it. Don't like begging for likes, don't like begging for subs, but we're trying real hard in this Madden 21 season to get to 200,000 subscribers. Before we do that, you gotta get baby steps, you gotta get that 150,000. So if you did enjoy this video and it's your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. The likes are appreciated, and I'll see you guys back here on the next one. Thanks for watching, and peace out.